Coach, just first off, let's talk about Washington and how that was for the team and what you guys have taken from that type of win.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me about the win. And honestly, it's not anything you expect in this league. But I just thought we were in a really great spot. I thought we prepared well. Again, I think we've been unsure of how our team, from practice, how they look in practice to how they prepare themselves to come out in the first quarter. We've been inconsistent in that. So we've talked a lot about whatever it takes, how to have an edge when the game starts, how to be dialed in to what we want to do defensively, knowing how we want to move the basketball and share the basketball and play to our strengths. And again, through the course of the season, you're going to have good days and bad days of that. But what I've been most pleased about is that we've really gotten better. You look at us a month ago, it looks we're moving the ball better. We're playing with each other better. We obviously that game indicated 6 people in double digits, and Sheer right there behind it. So it obviously was a game where we people shot the ball well. But offensively we really executed, and those are the things that we've harped on a lot. And so it was great to see that, and it gives us some confidence moving forward as we go into these last couple of weeks of our regular season.
You've actually had 2 back-to-back really good offensive performances. How do you think, or what do you think has been a little bit different about those 2 games compared to some of the other ones? And is it just the consistency, or what do you think?
Well, honestly, the way we try to play and the system that we put in, it's got structure. It's got basic structure of how we want to swing the ball from side to side, but in it, there's just a million reads, and in it, we're trying to teach players how to play basketball, and so it just takes time for them to make the right read at the right time, and so. And it suits us, and it's great for us when our players learn that, because then when teams, really good teams that you play in this league, stop your first option or your second option, you know how to play out of that. You don't know, well, now what do I do? And so what we see a lot of times in practice, in particular in the games, is that we're making great reads. Something gets taken away, and everybody on the court sees what's next. And if you do it with great pace, and if everybody's kind of on the same page, even in chaos, it's hard for defense to catch up with you, because there's not just one play they have to defend. They have to defend this action to this action to this action. And if you do it with pace, you're going to get an advantage. And clearly that's all offense is try to create an advantage for somebody, and at the back end of that, you hope people make shots. And so we've created really good advantages, and obviously these last 2 games we've made shots, so that's made it all look and feel a lot better. But I like the structure of it, and I like the decision-making within all of that. I clearly like the shooting percentage too, but I think it shows that we're growing as offensive players and playmakers.
You tweaked the starting lineup a couple times in the last few weeks, and you seem to have settled on Ula at the 4. What has she brought that you think maybe has changed the dynamic of the team and maybe pushed another step forward?
Yeah, well, from day one when Ula got on campus, I mean, the first thing you hear and notice and see is she's very vocal. She has an unbelievable IQ. She missed a lot of our practices, and within 2 days she was telling people what to do. So she understands basketball. She understands how to keep us in offense, because she just is verbal, and she lets people know what she's about to do. So it helps. It eases a lot of confusion, and there's always chaos in the game. So she really makes it easy to play with. Someone that communicates well is easy to play with. But her high IQ really makes her very, very valuable on our offensive end. But that's not the only thing she brings. She obviously is a post player. It allows Bobby to play in her more natural position on the wing, or as more of a ball handler for us, which I think makes us a better ball handling team, which makes us a better passing team, because we put a little bit better player that has all those skill sets on the wing. So and Ula is good at all of those things too, and she can stretch the defense. So I just think it's we've improved ourselves in a lot of areas on the offensive end of the court, and quite frankly, defensively as well. It's made us bigger. It's made us a better rebounding team. So my biggest fear in all of that and putting her in was just foul trouble. We don't have any depth or very little depth on the bench with a post in the post position, so we can't get into foul trouble. And minutes, people are going to have to play still extended minutes, but I think it clearly puts our best 5 basketball players on the court at the same time, and right now that's what we need in order to be successful.
I know I've asked you before, but can you talk a little bit about the maturation of Chanel and the development from even just the beginning of this year to where she's at now, coming off an 18-point, 10 assist, no turnover type game?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've heard a million things about Chanel, and everybody told me that she was, pretty much a phenom as a freshman, and they said her injury was so significant that it was hard for her to get all the way back last year, so she wasn't quite herself last year. She's been pretty good all year. What I love about her is, she really struggled in certain games against teams that defended her with length or name a situation that she wasn't quite ready for. Gonzaga comes up. She didn't have a great game against Gonzaga, and there's been a number of games where she struggled. And every time we've cut the film up, she's come in and watched it. We've taken film from other great point guards and shown her what they do against pick and roll schemes, and she just eats it up. She's just a sponge, and every single time you tell her something or show her something, she comes the next day in practice and she tries to do it. And then she puts it into place for the game. She's a player that when she doesn't have a great game, I can remember her sitting after a game and when we're talking to the team, and she'll say, "That's my fault, guys. It's my fault. We lost this game. I didn't do what I should have done." And so she takes personal responsibility for the success or lack of success for her team, which is a great sign of leadership and accountability, and she wants all of that. So she's a skilled player. She's a physical player. She's a talent in a lot of, that 5-tool baseball player. She does that in basketball. She can shoot it. She can dribble it. She can pass it. She can guard it. There's not a skill that she really doesn't bring. But you combine that with her hunger and her enthusiasm to practice and her enthusiasm to play and compete. And now as we grow her leadership, she's really improved, and I think she's only going to get better because she wants to and she's going to work at it.
What does that mean to you as a coach and as one of the best point guards to ever actually play in college basketball as yourself?
Well, I love, some people don't, I wasn't a great scoring point guard. I didn't have to. We didn't have the 3-point line 100 years ago. So I really wasn't required to score. But I love having a scoring point guard. I love the fact that she can affect the game in so many ways. But what I love most about her is her competitiveness and her passion to play and her willingness to be coached. And so as a coach, coaching someone like that is a joy and a thrill. And again, she doesn't have a bad day. She doesn't have a bad day in practice, energy-wise, talking-wise, as a teammate. She comes ready to play. After a game, I'll say, "How do you feel?" She'll say, "Great, coach. I'm ready to go again." And it's 10:30 at night. She just brings that kind of energy and passion, and that is great to be around and great to build your program on, and someone we're going to count on, the rest of this year and certainly next year as well.
Lastly, hitting the road, final regular season road trip beginning with Colorado. They're starting to get healthy after a stretch of having their best player out. Utah is struggling, but one of the top teams in the conference. What can be expected out of these games?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Colorado is just a different team with maybe one of the best backcourt or close to the best backcourt when you add Robinson and Leonard now that's healthy. So completely different. We have one game to scout what they look like. and I love the fact that they play with better energy. They run better offense. It's just clear she's a shot in the arm to them because she's on the court, and that's when and obviously Robinson didn't play in the last game, and I'm assuming that she'll be ready to go. So it's a great challenge. It's a great challenge to go on the road to begin with. They're going to be a little bit more confident and hungry to succeed. It's altitude. It's all of those things. So we're going to have to be our very best. We're going to have to put points on the board. So it's a great challenge, but it's a game that I think we match up well with them, and I think we can compete well if we show up and compete like we have the last few games and the last little bit of our season. Utah, on the other hand, I'm watching them against Arizona State, and again, they just look unbeatable for 3 quarters. I mean, they are that good and that talented, and I think Lynn does a great job with just her program, her culture. Those players, even though they lost a key player to them this year, they just play to their strengths and their roles, and they play hard and they're fundamental. They're a very dangerous team, and they're hungry, and they're playing for their NCAA lives. So we're going to get the very best out of these next 2 teams, and so be it. That's how it should be. We need to bring our best to and see how we stack up against teams that I think we compare to and that I think we match up pretty well with.